Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, once again, star notes are still big in my mind and big in the collecting world. And I just want to point out yet another thing that you can look for. Go through that book, go through Paper Money of the United States, and take a look at print runs. There are some ridiculously short printed notes that people are not paying attention to. Now, you know how I feel about $50 bills. $50 bills are notoriously short printed because they're not used. So, a $50 bill is always a good way to start. So, what if you started looking at some of the older $50 bills? I'm talking pre 1960s $50 bills. How far back do you have to go to find something ridiculously short printed and most likely seriously undervalued? Well, that's what I'm going to get into a little bit later on because it's amazing what you can find in that little book, Paper Money of the United States, if you just look at it. Stop looking up the notes that you have and start thumbing through and compare the prices you see and rationalize those prices to the stuff that people are trying to tout to you right now. Anyone trying to sell you a 2013 B star note for hundreds of dollars, or any 2000s star note for hundreds of dollars, should have their head examined. We'll get into that a little later. All right, I got my 1,000 singles. Let's get those out of the way. Let's take a look at what I found this week. I thought somebody might have actually searched these notes. I found one trinary. That was it. Then these here are quad twos again, quad sevens. That was it for that. And then I got to the stars. This is a 2017 A star. Check to see if they're filled. 2017 A star. This is an old one. Or actually, it's just a worn out one. Let's see. What is that? Can't read it. 2013 B, but it's not in the duplicate range. Now, here's the interesting thing. There are more duplicated star notes than non-duplicated star notes in this particular series. So most people are sitting here ignoring these and they're looking for the duplicate series. Maybe in the long run, these are the ones that you should hold on to. A clearer example of that would be the R and S silver certificates. They did an experiment where they were trying a new coating on the bills, and they printed 1,000,000 notes with a red R, and those were regular notes, and they printed 1,000,000 notes with a red S, and those had the special coating. And people got wind that the S was the special note. So people started saving those S notes, and they didn't save the R notes. They didn't save the regular ones. Well, all these years later, the R's, the regulars, are actually worth more. So maybe the notes you should be looking for are the 2013 B non-duplicate ones, because nobody's saving those. All right, keep going here. Another 2013 star. And 2003 A star note, old star note found in circulation. That's a good one. Let's see, older notes. Here's a 2003A, another 2003A with writing, so that's going to go away. 2003, 1999, another 99, 1995, not a web note. Web note's another example of what's going to happen with stars. Everybody knew about web notes. Everybody saved web notes. Web notes were from 1988A to 1995, and because everybody knew what they were and everybody saved them, 1995 was 30 years ago. 30 years. After 30 years, web notes are worth about $15. That's about how you can equate stars. 30 years from now, they might be worth something. 1995, let me just double check. No, I was looking to see what the number is, and it's 291, so that's not it. And the oldest note I found this week, this was from 1969 and the D series, 1969D. So that was a cool find. You don't find old notes like that too often. All right, so what did I bring out? Well, I did not have this graded. I wouldn't normally send modern notes in to get graded. But after I figured out all the stuff about this note, I can understand why. This is a $50 small head from the 1950A series. Of course, features Grant, and it's been graded by PMG 58 EPQ choice about uncirculated. I'm not going to try to go through this with a fine-tooth comb to figure out why it didn't get a higher grade. I did not send it in. I bought this note this way. And what makes this note so special? Take a look at the back. Exceptional paper quality on the back. No other notes. Just want to look it over one more time to make sure that I don't see anything that jumps out. That, I don't know. I'm not trying to go over this and determine why it got the grade. I wanted to tell you about the note in general. So what do we know? We know that this is a Boston star note from the series of 1950A. And that alone is pretty cool. Any small head $50 bill is just something you don't encounter too often. A star on a 50, that's a good reason to collect. And then, of course, being in this good a shape. So let's take a look at the book and see what we can discern from the book as to why this is such a good note. This is paper money of the United States, and we can see here 1950, but ours is a 1950A. Ours was from Boston, so it's the very first one right here. Boston. Well, would you look at that? They only printed 720,000, and those are the regular notes. They only printed 720,000 of those 1950As. And if you look for the star here, underneath it, they don't have a number, which means the stars were part of that print run. So only 720,000 notes to start with. And the regular notes in an EF40, the regular 50s, they're $50 bills. They're worth $50 right off the top. The regular ones are only worth $80, and they are that short printed. $80. So $30 over face value being $50. They're not even 2x, okay? And then if they're choice uncircular, you're talking 145. But once again, that's the regular note. Now, of the 720,000, you can guess that the vast majority were not stars. And if we look, it's $150 in a 40, and it's $400 in a 63. So if someone stumbled across this note, I could understand if they paid $50 for it and wanted to send it in for grading, spending another $40. That means they'd have $90 in it. $150 in a grade 40 and $400 in a 63. Mine's a 58, so you're talking right in the middle there. So what does that put me at? About $325? If you had a note worth about $325, would you have it graded when you got it for face value? Yeah, I could understand that. But maybe all those numbers didn't sink in. This is a one of 720,000, and that's not even the truth of the matter. Of all of the Boston notes, there was only 720,000 printed, and only some of those were stars. Do you see how small of a print run that was? And do you understand how many of those notes didn't survive, much less survive in this condition? That's how you know that this star note is going to be worth more money in the future compared to the notes you're trying to get today from your bank for face value. Anything printed within the last 5-10 years is never going to see the prices of these, because there are literally tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of those stars. Where this, like I said, without the star, one of 720,000. With the star, who knows? I didn't look it up in advance, but let's check it out here. Small size U.S. paper money. We'll check out the 1950A $50 bill and see, maybe it's got something. There's the 50C. Here we go. Series 1950A green seal from Boston. Right here. And yeah, once again, they list 720,000, and they don't list a specific number for stars, but they do show the lowest one that people have seen is 155,000 and 218,000. So what is that? 60,000 of those were stars, roughly. Yeah, I understand why this has value. All right, guys, if you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.